This is Mrs. M, 28-year-old. I'm just starting from when she reported to us. P2L1, previous to cesarean sterilized. She reported in April 2011 for lap recanalization. Sterilization was done after the second cesarean when the first child was only 1.5 years old and the second child died due to congenital heart disease. Let's just ask the panel, was sterilization justified when the first child, was only 1.5 years? Dr. Sheila Shenoy.
Yes, just show that.
Previous one? You want the previous?
Slide. See, doing sterilization at the time of cesarean, second cesarean, we have had many mishaps like this also. So I always make it a point to tell them about this thing, and if they are forcing only, we go for. We know we have got availability of lap sterilization which we can do at any time. But sterilizing at the time of second cesarean, though it is easy for us, it may have very bad mishaps because the baby, we do not know about the condition of the baby, especially the heart disease of the baby. We have had a very important doctor this was missed and diagnosed only on the third day. And the baby was flown that time, many years back to Chennai, and baby could not be saved. She is left with only one child now. So these are all things which come to my mind. So I always think twice before and ask them again and again whether she requires a sterilizer. So you have to always tell them about, because we do not know, those scans are available, many things we know about the baby, but we can't vow that the baby is normal when you are doing a sterilization at the second, with the second
Sheila,
baby.
please, you have to record that also. We have to discuss with the patient and still, because sometimes the patient will say, you just asked when the patient, I was on the operating table, so I couldn't. So before that you have to tell them and you have to get it in documentation that they want sterilization in spite of knowing all the problems. Because they may come across later on for cases.
Most of the women are now working. So they have already the second baby, you are doing a cesarean section.
They don't have time
majority
to come
of them
back.
are insisting.
They don't have time to come back for sterilization.
They don't want to come back for sterilization.
You
Get a written permission.
Which I tell them, madam, because we are saying we can only say anatomically. That is what I used to tell my patients. Just looking at the patient, we can say it is normal, but functionally we cannot never say. At least 6 months or 1 year to say whether your baby's heart is normal, lung is normal, whether the eyes are normal, hearing is normal. So you are willing to take all these, you will do it. Otherwise, better come and do it. You have got laparoscopic sterilization, no need for rest.
Is there any government or family planning recommendation on the age of the first child for the second sterilization?
No
Okay,
recommendation.
if the patient gives the consent, we are supposed to do the sterilization. If the patient insists, that is, with proper consent, explaining all the pros and cons.
Only. Record it also.
Documented. It should be documented and the patient should give up.
If she had a normal delivery and you say you come back after 1 year or 6 months and then...
They would agree for it. They would agree for it.
But the second cesarean section, especially the working women, does not.
If there was a thin scar, if there were adhesions, would you still advise a patient to have another child? Even if it was the first cesarean?
Who wants always to have a sterilization? Ever so many methods are available. We have got LNG, IUD, so many things are available now. Why should you go for a sterilization? We have to convince them. Sterilization is not only the method. It is the method for the people who are probably in the rural areas or somewhere. Those people who are rich, have knowledge and education, why should they go for sterilization? Other methods are available. Reversible methods are available. Why should you sterilize?
Yes, because if you put 2 copper teeth, 10 plus 10, 20 years is over. So by the time you'll reach 50.
Menopause. Okay, so no solid recommendations. It need not be done. We should always advise interval sterilization. Proper patient counseling is very important. So then maybe the patient would disagree on the sterilization. This patient, we did go through the labs recanalization. Right tube was recanalized. Patient conceived after 3 months. It was a biochemical pregnancy. Then she was lost to follow-up. Then we saw her only in January 2014. She reported for IVF. In between, she didn't come to us. She gives a history of tubal ectopic pregnancy when she underwent salpingectomy at a local hospital. What do you think? Do you think salpingectomy is should have been done? Is there a role for methotrexate, especially now that she's undergone recanalization? Could they have tried recanalization?
Depending upon the condition at which she
If it was an
reported to the
unruptured
hospital.
ectopic, if it-
She was having intraperitoneal hemorrhage.
If it was an unruptured ectopic, what about the chances
The
of recurrence?
unruptured ectopic, the chances are again going to be because you had a
What about the chances of
recanalization,
recurrence? Yeah. So proper counseling is very important after recanalization, especially the follow-up. We should have the patient at an early stage. As soon as she becomes pregnant, we should make sure that she is not lost to follow-up. She underwent the IVF procedure. She had mild OHSs. 2 embryos were transferred. Pregnancy test became positive. Pregnancy supportive measures were continued. Ultrasound was done. It was a twin gestation. She presented with threatened abortion. All ultrasounds up to the first trimester corresponded to the period of gestation. Supportive measures were continued. Then she came for the NT scan at 13 weeks and 5 days. This was the report. It was a live twin gestation. Twin A showed a 13 weeks 5 days with oligomnios. Twin B 13 weeks plus 5 days with normal LICA. When we went back and asked the history, she gave a history of watery bloodstain discharge since 2 days. What do we do now? With leaking from one sac at 13 weeks of pregnancy, what are the options that we have?
Just leave her alone.
Would you consider termination of pregnancy?
No.
Expectant management? Okay. What about selective feticide? No? Just that select? No? Okay, suppose the patient prefers termination. She is scared that she is having leaking. What will happen to the first child? What will happen to the second child? Will she end up in abortion? If it was a method of termination, what would you advise? Previous 2 cesareans, prostaglandins, mechanical methods, hysterotomy. Shamla madam?
She's only 13 weeks, she started leaking. If
Yeah.
alone, if she's a pregnancy, she will abort herself.
If she doesn't, that is expectant management. If she doesn't, if she patient wants sterilization, termination, she's worried about, she's not so educated.
She don't want.
After IVF, she wants the termination now.
What if the patient wants? What if the
Because after spending for this IVF, at least she should get on baby, isn't it? So even if she wants, you have to counsel her and when ask her there is nothing will happen. Even if there is on baby leaking, it will stop and the other baby will grow normally. So discourage her from termination. If still we want termination, just do a suction evacuation.
Okay. So if
And
we
do
have,
sterilization also.
and do sterilization.
No, sorry, she's
No, she
IVF.
wants-
okay.
she's already
But she should not
sterilized.
come back and don't do any IVF more.
Don't do IVF. No, she wants a child. How can we not do IVF for her? She might need repeat IVF. Okay, expectant management. Hospitalization. Of course, as soon as the patient comes with complaints of leaking, we usually hospitalize her. What about antibiotics? If we are going for expectant management, for how long would you continue the antibiotics?
Only 1 week. Only 1 week.
Only, and then stop.
Then stop.
What do you check?
Total count, CRP, everything you do. Just do a vaginal swab culture. Vaginal swab culture, give the proper antibiotics for 5 days. And
Investigations, blood counts, vaginal swabs were done.
CRP.
Okay, with expectant management, we have only selected patients can go for expectant management. Those are well informed and educated about the risks and aware of the poor prognosis for the neonate. Termination is appropriate when the mother is concerned about her own risks. That's what is there in the literature. If the mother is concerned about her own risk, especially with PPRM prior to 20 weeks, they do advise termination. Survival varies with gestational age at diagnosis. 16 to 19 weeks diagnosis of PPROM, 12% is the survival. 25 to 27 weeks, it goes up to 60%. So our idea would be to continue the pregnancy to at least 25 to 27 weeks, a minimum. Antibiotics that are usually given as ampicillin or amoxicillin with erythromycin, given only up to 7 days. Longer than 7 days is not justified. It may be prolonged if there is evidence of infection. Patient has fever or the counts are high. Because giving antibiotics itself would give rise to resistant organisms. Weekly vaginal swabs and maternal blood tests
Weekly
usually
vaginal
not
swab.
indicated. Is not indicated. Just at the when the patient comes, maybe you could do, but it's not indicated.
Moxclav is not given.
No,
That's something
that's
not
vampicillin or amoxicillin with erythromycin.
given.
What about tocolytics? You're planning for expectant management. Would you advise tocolytics?
No, not at all. Tocolytics are for acute pain or preterm labor, not for maintenance.
Okay, tocolytics, cause of labor in PPROM is chorioamnionitis. So tocolytics should not be given. There's no justification in giving tocolytics. There's no benefit to the neonate. If at all tocolytics are to be given, it is just for steroid benefit, or if you want to transport the patient to a neonate. Later, not now. I'm not talking about now. When I'm talking about expectant management. Okay, this was a study. I couldn't get much on the literature. This was a study. This was a paper from the University Hospital, Belgium, where they did selective feticide in twin pregnancies with very early preterm premature rupture of membranes. 19 consecutive twin gestations, less than 20 weeks. Mean gestational age was 17.5. Mean PROM delivery interval was 6.2. Of the selective reduction done for 3 patients, 2 progress up beyond 33 weeks. There was no neonatal loss when they did selective fetal reduction. PROM delivery interval was 21 weeks. So we could still consider selective fetal reduction to prolong the pregnancy. Any comments from the?
Not fully convinced. It's one, with one study we cannot take up this, isn't it? 13 weeks, one sac is leaking. At the most that baby will die itself. Another pregnancy will continue. It is a, nature will do the feticide. So no, it should be going.
No, if it doesn't, if the baby, I mean, if the fetus does not die, the chances of delivery early is more. We could prolong the pregnancy.
Liquor is leaking.
Uterus will start
But
contracting.
still.
I think feticide
No, but
also there is a chance.
If we do selective reduction, the PROM delivery interval could be prolonged up to 21 weeks from the time of 21 weeks.
Just 3 cases we cannot.
No, I'm just telling. This is just a paper which was there.
No, it doesn't mean that you do a feticide and it will remain there. With the PROM, she might abort.
She might.
The other pregnancy will also get aborted. Uterus is contracting.
It might happen, but maybe we could try. Okay, anyway, patient was admitted. She was given amoxicillin, clavulanic acid, which we should not have given. Blood counts were done, which was normal. Patient remained afebrile. A vaginal swab culture showed only Candida species, which was treated. Now patient is worried about abnormalities. Patient is worried about leaking. Patient wants to go home. What is the panel's?
Send her home, go home, ask her not to have sexual activity. What is that?
No, it's only 13 weeks now.
You can keep her for the 27 weeks in KJK.
No, not. I'm not talking about KJK. I'm just talking generally. What is the consensus? I'm not talking about KJK at all.
No, we
Okay.
send them home.
Keeping her
Okay,
in the
patient may be sent home. Yeah, need not continue antibiotics. Patient can be sent home. So this is the outcome of twin pregnancies complicated by early second trimester rupture of membranes in one sac. This was a paper from Israel, where they studied. They got only 9 patients over 6 years. They did expectant management. There was 1 IUD and 2 went up to 27 to 32 weeks. But with selective reduction, the delivery was prolonged, was between 33 and 40 weeks. Of these, 2 of them had limb contractures. There was no lung hypoplasia. So conclusion of this paper was expectant management has favorable prognosis whether reduced or not, but reduction helped in prolonging duration of pregnancy. That's what they said.
reduction.
Because of that. One had that is.
That baby didn't have lung problem.
No.
That's what's surprising.
That's what they said. No lung
hypoplasia is
hypoplasia.
what we are worried.
We are worried about that, but there was no lung hypoplasia.
Limb contractures.
That was that.
Positional fluid illa.
Outpatient management of PPROM is appropriate in well-informed and educated patient. Look for warning signs. Patient should be informed about this: fever, abdominal pain, foul-smelling discharge, vaginal spotting, rapid heart rate. Recommendation is to admit patient when the pregnancy reaches viability, that is around 25 weeks. We repeated the ultrasound after 2 weeks. Twin A 15 plus 6 oligoamnios, A twin B, 16 plus 3, normal Leica. No significant anomalies. Again, 19 plus 6 and 22 plus 6 corresponding growth, Leica reduced in twin A. The last scan, sorry for the mistake, on 6/8/2014, twin A was breached, Leica significantly reduced, almost absent. Patient was not willing for admission.
Now how many weeks now?
Now she's 24. Because 6/8 was 23 weeks. One is normal. The twin B, I'm talking only about the twin B because the twin A, that was the one. Okay. So we decided to continue, we are still continuing the conservative treatment. What is the role of steroids? If so, when will you give the steroid? Now that she is going to reach 25, 26 weeks. And if she doesn't go into labor even after maybe 4 weeks, would you repeat steroid?
No question of repeating.
Just that
steroid.
single dose at
Single
25,
doses.
26 weeks. That's okay. So corticosteroid therapy reduces the neonatal mobility and mortality.
Around of 34 weeks you
Between 24 and 34 weeks, we could give the steroid single course. A single rescue course may be recommended if the antecedent treatment was given more than 2 weeks prior. POA was less than 34 weeks. That's what they say in the literature. You could give one if the antecedent treatment was more than, there was just one
The
paper.
reduction in head circumference and neurodevelopmental delays also there.
It
Those
could-
are the
because of the
against
steroid,
the
yeah,
repeat.
because of the steroid. Regularly scheduled repeated courses or more than 2 courses not recommended. So elective termination, when would you do elective termination? Suppose she does not go into labor, would you consider elective termination?
Depends upon
At 30
the
weeks,
need-
32 weeks,
nursery.
34 weeks?
Other baby is normal.
Normal.
26 weeks.
No, now she's 25. Now, no, I'm not talking about now, what further course? Because we have to manage her further, no? So what is the panel say?
What was the baby weight, fetal weight?
At 24 weeks.
Fetal weight
24 weeks.
for this baby. What is the
600 and
weight?
500 grams. 600 and 500.
605.
That is, I'm not talking about elective termination now. I'm asking when would we go for elective? If she progresses uneventfully, and what about the mode of
maybe
delivery?
32 weeks earliest.
34 weeks.
Maternity, no? അല്ല
അല്ല, I'm just asking.
If at all, വേണമെങ്കിൽ
When-
അത്രേ ഉള്ളൂ. എന്തെങ്കിലും ഇൻഡിക്കേഷൻ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ 32 മുമ്പേ we will never.
ഇല്ല, എന്തിന്? Yeah. Why do you want to terminate it now?
No, we are not
One
terminating
baby is
now.
growing
Not now.
properly. The other baby has no liker.
34, okay.
The other baby has no liker. The one baby is growing well. Why not give it a better chance?
Yeah.
Because one baby is already from 13 weeks, it will go. We are telling the patient and we are
Yeah, yeah.
counseling her in the way. There is
Yeah.
only one baby. That baby is growing normally, then why do you think about termination?
Okay, 36 weeks.
37 weeks.
Okay,
36 or even beyond that.
Dicor. Okay, if she goes into labor at 26 weeks, that's okay, she can deliver normally?
Yes.
Breach, previous to cesareans? Okay.
500 grams according
No, that, now when she goes to 26, she's not 26 now, she's 24. Now I'm asking at 26 weeks, what did you do?
4 weeks in 500 grams.
There. Now she's gone
Deliver
to 26.
normally.
At 28 weeks. Still normal delivery?
Yes.
Do a cesarean? Because we have to manage this patient, no? That is why. First is breach and previous cesarean at 30 weeks if she goes into labor.
I'll do a cesarean probably.
You can do cesarean.
Cesarean.
Why should we go?
But here, this is I would ask to add one more thing, sir. Just give her a course of Maxelf also, so the baby will get neuroprotection. Because after getting this baby up to 26 weeks, all these risk factors, we should have a normal
At
baby
27 weeks. At what date?
before you deliver her.
Before delivery.
26, 28 weeks.
Madam,
You actually had a twin pregnancy where the first leaking started in one sac.
previous to cesarean.
Normal, primary. 20, 26, 28 weeks. What to do? We just kept her there. If happened to be a VIP patient, bureaucracy will be there. So when the pregnancy went on till about 36, 37 weeks, and then the PROM patient started having meconium staining.
Baby and.
So we did a certain section, everything went off
all.
normally.
No, this is the
Yeah,
previous-
Wait.
Okay.
Years later, the patients, both the twins, came to my OP 2 months back, and the one child has become a little mentally abnormal, slightly, because she has got some problem. She has got some problem. The other girl is a normal child. The one with that PRO.
No, maybe whether we should have terminated earlier before it went into meconium.
As soon as we saw the meconium, it
We terminated.
Till then we waited.
Okay, so to summarize, I'm going to end. Confirm the diagnosis, avoid digital examination, especially if you're going for expectant management. Ultrasound, confirm the gestational age, AFI, fetal anatomy. Antibiotics is only up to 7 days. Corticosteroids, single course, 24 to 34 weeks. Informed consent for expectant management versus delivery or selective feticide. Hospitalization only after viability. Maternal health is a primary indicator for the need to deliver. Periodic ultrasound, fetal monitoring is necessary. After 34 weeks, that's what they say, re-evaluate expectant management after 34 weeks. Thank you.